resources and book now, exclamation point, you click on that, and then you'll be able to see the calendar once you make an account.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Hi, thank you for coming in. How far ahead of time will Poly Ballroom be open for reservations?
We're going to be taking reservations as of January. It's for January 2016. We'll be taking reservations now for the 2016. We can't guarantee, we would take them earlier, but we cannot guarantee that the building, the space will be available. So until we know any definite from construction people, we have to stay with January. But that might change overall. We have to wait till we get some definite dates and times. And student groups are our #1 priority for that space. So the students will be the first ones to know if that pattern changes.
Thank you.
Senator DeSalia.
Hi, thank you for coming in. When will Wheeler Late Night open up again?
Some questions. So the MOU is written, so that starts the 3rd week of classes. So you can, 4th week, excuse me, you can start reserving, I believe this week. We'll send out lots of material so everyone will know we're working on our marketing team, getting all of the flyers and all that fun stuff geared and ready up. And February 9th is the first functional day, so that's Monday. And then I know some of you might have questions about Hearst Gym. That's also the first day that open hours open at Hearst Gym. So you can now book from 5 to 9, Monday through Friday.
Senator Genske.
Hey, thanks for coming. Are the 3 desks that are opening up that you spoke about, the information desks, are those just for, let's say, like a guest who's coming to like find out more about the university, or what's the purpose of having those open 24 hours?
So think about Eshelman students. Just think it's midnight, right? All the buildings are will be locked, closed. Students can swipe their card. They'll come in through Eshelman. They'll be shown how to get to MLK from that standpoint, so you know who's in the building. And then they'll be Eshelman people in MLK and people in Eshelman, just to make sure things are happening and make sure that we work for a safe environment. And they'll also be a building manager walking around. But they'll be able to they'll be able to report if anything happens. During the day, they'll be able to provide information, they'll give directions. They'll have anyone that's walking in the space, especially in a new building at the beginning, because everything is new to everybody. And that's really their main thing, is just to give information out to people. We want to take it to a whole new level and have them really be a concierge desk. So maybe they can recommend hotels in the area, stuff about should you get a food plan, all the different things that people might want to know. We want to take their level of service to more than just the meeting room is upstairs. We want to make sure it's an experience that people really want to be a part of.
Thanks. Any other questions? Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Next on the agenda is the architects. So they actually couldn't make it at this particular time, but I did get a chance to sit down with them earlier in the day, and so I'll be going over the specific changes during my report, so we're going to skip over that. Moving on is executive officer reports for 5 minutes and 5 minutes for questions. First we have ASUC President Bob Mutali.
Hello, everyone. So we're starting off the semester and kind of focusing more now that it is spring and time is of the essence. So we're really trying to get some of our last projects out and ready. Some things that are in the works. I know Cecilia reported on it, but we had a food festival, and once Upper Sprout is finished with construction, we're going to start to try and bring that either a bi-weekly, monthly, or potentially a weekly thing, because it got great reviews from both people who essentially, it worked out for everybody. They were able to reach a new market, and a lot of students and people were really enjoyable, really enjoyed it. Other than that, we had another project that we're working on, which we're going to be sending out, and I'll send it all out to you all first before it goes out to the campus, is a budget visualization project. So this is something that's been in works for since I started office, so it's really cool to finally see it. And what we did is we started with the ASUC budget and put it in a way that you can actually go through all the different numbers. We're working in collaboration with a previous UC alum, Nikita Beer, who's in charge of 5 and 4 to 5. So he's been superbly helpful, and it's actually ready to kind of be seen now, so I'll kind of show you all the test demo really soon. And if you have any input that you'd like, please let me know. The next step of this is, because I was waiting for the CFO to kind of help us, but then she's really busy. So now that we have this, she's a lot more willing to kind of meet and continue the project for Berkeley's campus. So our goal is by the end of the semester to have a budget visualization for the entire Berkeley campus. So that's really what we're striving for. Another update is there was a fireside chat Tuesday. I couldn't make it, but John Reedy was there, and there was a fireside chat with veterans. There was recently, over the break, there was a suicide that was committed within that community, and it felt like it was very timely for the veteran community because they've been pushed off for, like, I know that there was one suicide 3 years ago that never happened. John knew it, but I wasn't here. Had the recollection. So we ultimately wanted that to happen before we both left office. And that supposedly went really well, and there was a lot of tangible steps for veterans to become better integrated within the global Cal community. Other projects are Bears Breaking Bread. Those are still happening. We're going to have one at the Camp Nilly. We're going to have one with Cal Athletics. That's not changing. But one thing that our office is really trying to focus on, or there's two other areas that our office is focusing on other than budget visualization, which are the issue of campus climate, but we want to make sure we're doing more than Bears Breaking Bread, so we're having like a large brainstorming session. And if any of you have any ideas, which is like we think that this should happen around the campus, just feel free to send them to me and we'll make it happen. We're definitely looking for things that can have a lot of impact. The one area that we're looking for is also classroom climate and what ways to address that. I'm meeting regularly with David Presti, and he really wants to address this through the new undergraduate council that's being formed. I know that a few of you may have information about that, but feel free to ask me offline if you want more information about what the undergraduate council is. I know that me and Justin are both sitting on it. Aside, the last thing, what was the last thing? It just left. If I think of it as you ask questions, then I'll let you know.
Questions for Pavan? Something important?
Hi, Pavan. I'm really excited about all of the things that your office is doing, especially the financial visualization with the campus. This is a different note. The past few meetings, I've requested that the 20 of us have a meeting with Chancellor Dirks. I don't know if that's gotten to you, so I just want to tell you, I really want all 20 of us, maybe all 25 of us, but I think the 20 senators for sure, to have an official meeting with the Chancellor very soon.
Okay, that also sparked me to have something. There's interesting, yes, I will strive to make that happen, and I will make, I can't say I will make sure that happens because the Chancellor travels a lot. Even the undergraduate initiative is now being co-chaired by EVCP Steele and Kathy Koshlin's not the Chancellor anymore. And his schedule is unbelievable. But I will definitely make sure that he hears this. I would, because of his travels and because of my schedule this semester, I had to, I rescheduled one of my standings in January to the 28th and the 22nd, but that had to be canceled because he's out of the country as well. So, yes, another thing that I want to bring up for all of you is, do you want Dan Mogoloff and Mills to come to the Senate so that you can all ask questions? They reached out to me asking if they said it was a productive engagement and they wanted to come back. And I want to see if any of you would like that to happen. And I'm guessing Dree wants to answer that.
Yeah, no, sorry. I just had a question about for you and the other leaders. I personally when they come, it's always charged and fun. And, yeah. Do they actually communicate what we say back to the Chancellor is what I always wonder.
Yes, and I would say it goes further than that, in that Nils and David, the same way I would say my chief of staff kind of run my entire office, and I kind of sit in meetings and don't do any real work. I'm not saying that's what the Chancellor does. He actually is, his meetings are very important, and it's necessary for him to show that face so he can get the funds to do things like the Richmond Global Campus, et cetera, et cetera. But, 80% of what the decisions that are being made day to day are coming through Mills and David and Dan, who's crafting the message that's coming out from the office as well. And they're relying heavily on Dean Greenwell, whose time has become to be increasingly strapped. So I would say having them here listen to you is very powerful, and the Chancellor listens to them a lot.
And I'm all on here. Thank you.
Senator Scott.
Thanks for coming here, Pavan. I was wondering, do you have any updates on just the path and pace of the undergraduate initiative? It's my impression that it's been kind of stalled. I've heard some things about it, and I was wondering if you could update us and talk about anything that you know, any challenges.
That was the last thing. So I said campus climate and something else, and undergraduate initiative was it. So I don't know if Cecilia asked you all last week about the charrette that's happening, and for we would like 10 senators to participate in it. Please, if you're interested, participate through that way. Also, we'll be reaching out to as many different communities as possible, helping them kind of craft a grid, and I would like all of your help too. So if you think there are communities that you want to be represented outside of the 10, so essentially the way it works, there's 10 from Kathy's student advisory, 10 from Harry's student advisory, 10 ASUC officials, and then there's 35, so there's a total of 65 being used. And these 35 are meant to be like a cross-section of what the Berkeley undergraduate experience should be. So if there's people or groups that you think should be represented, please let me know, and we can make sure to add that and make sure that their voices are heard. So that's kind of where it is at now. So there have been many decisions. There's been a proposed way moving forward. It's essentially something called an undergraduate college. That's able to help give more one-on-one time for students, able to buy their, and I can give you all the specifics if you just want to sit down and talk with me. But then what they're doing now is for having this type of charrette is to field this idea off of students and see if it works or doesn't. So that's where the initiative is, and they want this to happen by the end of February.
Senator Franklin.
Can you talk about what a charrette is?
Yes. Okay. So, it's really, I think of it as a town hall type meeting of a facilitated discussion. So what they're doing is they're contracting through this company called Neighborland. And in the aftermath of Hurricane Katrina, Neighborland went through and did a lot of city planning for that area. And the way that they did it was a crowdsourcing method. They would have like an app that you could use that would have different buildings in different places, and people could vote on where they wanted a greenery, or if they wanted a bank in a certain place, or if they wanted like a sustainable bar. And then this was then turned into like the actual city plan for a place. So it's kind of going to be a similar model. They're going to facilitate the discussion using like a lot of the tools they have. You can look them up. They're called Neighborland. Some of their work's really cool. But that's what the charrette's going to be. It's going to be this technology brought in by Neighborland in a facilitated room that talks about this type of undergraduate college and tries to see what students think about it, and then take that information to see whether they can move forward, whether they can make some changes, or whether they can destroy it.
This is mostly just a comment to have it on public record. But I think it's a huge mistake that I think students were only a third, or the ASUC is representative of the students, and we're only a third of the voice input for the undergraduate initiative project. Meaning that 2/3 of those decision makers' voices that are going into it are not undergraduates, right? So I think that's a real flaw in our system. And I don't know about this organization that was contracted out to, but if you did this internship in New Orleans, you would find out that a lot of the city planning done there is actually really harmful to the local community. And so there's just a lot of interconnectedness here. So just for public record, that's not really a comment directed for you.
Yeah, actually 1/6, not 1/3, because I know, just to make it better, because there's 65 total students that will be there, and 10 will be ASUC, 35 will be at large from different communities. But that being said, that you all can have a voice in choosing who comes to represent those different communities. But yeah.
Senator Tobusi?
Yeah, just to like rub some dirt in what Senator Gordon just said, I had a meeting today with someone who sits on the pre-med committee, advisory committee, which is an offshoot of the undergraduate initiative, and I'm not allowed in their committee meetings. And they said there's no place for students, and I tried. Laura, my intern, was at this meeting with me. She is my witness. So, like, it's worse than 1/6 of us. It's like there's micro committees forming, and they don't let students on them. So, I don't know what we can do about that, but just to rub dirt in Senator Gordon's public record comment.
That'll be a topic of conversation.
I guess I have a question with the structure of this college that may be developed. So let's say a fraction of the students decide they don't want a college. How much say do these 65 students really have in actually voicing their opinion, or are they just kind of there for symbolic reasons, and then the decision will be made without it, and then 3 years from now we'll have like another college for undergraduates? You know?
Yeah, that's a good question. It seems as if the people on the administrative side are very gung-ho about this idea. Now, that doesn't mean that there is no voice for students, because the way that it was framed was to provide students the opportunity to say yes or no to this decision, and this way moving forward. That being said, there's also a lot of politics out there. So if students do decide that this is not the right course for moving forward with the university, there are ways and people who will be able to help us leverage that in different rooms that we may not be in. That's a much more difficult conversation, but what I will be doing is I will have a list of all the students, and I will be following up with them individually or personally, so that they can also tell me their points, so it doesn't just go to someone else. So that will hopefully be a way that we can control the information, and then we can make a decision about how we need to move forward afterwards.
Any other questions?
Hi, thank you. Just to add on to that, so I know you mentioned the number of students that would be in this, but can you talk about like what strategies or what's the logic behind like who's being outreached to be a part of this process, or just a little bit about that?
So I sat down with two people who are administrative assistants to Kathy, and they essentially said, who do you want to represent? So I said, okay, we're going to come up with a community matrix of all the possible communities that we can think about on campus, and then we're going to describe maybe clubs that either relate to those communities if possible, and obviously we'll be reaching out to you all as well. And then from that, hopefully we can pick a couple of people for the community. It doesn't seem, it becomes difficult in many different ways, because it's going to take some time to craft the ultimate group. Just because if you think about 35, and there's definitely more, like the way you slice like Berkeley, even if you're, like, there's no way that you're going to, the way you slice it, there's going to be more than 35 communities, right? But then the thing is, each person has a diverse wealth of experiences, so maybe they could represent different communities. So if you're like, you can not only represent an ethnic or an identity, but you can also represent something that is your classroom identity, like if you are an engineer or a science major. And then that way you can also work on a bunch of different things and represent different voices into that. So if you have any suggestions about how we should break down the community, the way that we're working is we're doing like 9th, 10th, 11th, and 12th, and then hoping to get a fairly even distribution between the grades, a fairly even distribution between the different types of majors, like humanities, engineering, sciences, etc. But then also making sure that these touch upon all the different communities, while also reaching out to the different communities that we hope to represent.
Senator Dushan?
And this is supposed to be done by the end of February.
Yes.
Okay.
So I was supposed to send like a community list like last Friday, but it becomes very, very difficult to make something exhaustive. So I'm trying to send it this Friday, but I don't think that'll happen either. But whatever I send them, I can also send to you all, so you can see. And if you have any changes that you would like to make, you're more than welcome to add or subtract. Actually, probably not welcome to subtract, but you're more than welcome to add to it.
Any other questions? Thank you, Bob. Next up, we have External Affairs Vice President Caitlin Quinn.
So I just jotted a bunch of things down when I was running over here. And I knew to run over here because I saw Pavin on the live stream, so thanks for setting that up, y'all. Really cool. I really like it. But I'll still come every week. Yeah. So the next UCSA board meeting is February 7th and 8th down at our favorite campus, UCLA. And I was thinking that since the divestment vote is coming up, EAVP could pay for 2 hotel rooms, one for the side against the resolution and one for the side for the resolution. Do you think people would be interested in that? I just want to make people's lives a little easier if they are going to travel down for that. And I know that both Ori and Miriam have expressed to me that people are interested in driving down for that. So I'll talk to interested folks more offline. I just wanted to put that out there. Berkeley City Council, I've been at the last 2 trying to get them to just fucking vote on the police brutality items. 2 weeks in a row, they haven't even brought it up because they have to go to bed at 11. Sounds familiar to what y'all were talking about, but whatever, no shade. So they're going to talk about it in 2 weeks on February 10th. Hopefully more of you all can be there. It'll be one of the first items up at the council meeting, so it should go not quickly necessarily, but it won't go till 11. So it would be really great if senators could come out and support that. Y'all do the Facebook statuses and stuff, so hopefully you can roll out to a Berkeley City Council meeting, even just to give public comment for 5 or 10 minutes. That would be really great. Council wants to know that students support Black lives, which we all do, right? Yeah, okay. Took a little while, but, and so our office also wrote a letter to every city council member about the items, and we just did a press release about how we're kind of sick of Mayor Bates and everyone keeping to push it back. When it's been well over a month, by the time it's adopted, it'll be over 2 months since the protest on December 6th. On the national affairs level, we're working on making the WedgeCon application. We have enough money to bring 30 people to DC, which is more than 3 times how many we brought last year. A lot of that is because of some work that Shariar did a couple of years ago to get us a grant, so we're really appreciative of that. So we'll forward that out really, really widely. It's one of the more popular conferences, obviously, because who doesn't want a free trip to DC? And it's during spring break. So luckily for us and the rest of the UC, it's a pretty convenient time to actually go. Big Block of Cheese Day is tomorrow, right here from 6 to 7:30. Come by. I just bought a lot of cheese with my own money right now. So come eat it, so it's worth it. We're going to watch that episode of The West Wing and then talk about ideas people have for the ASUC and for EAVP specifically. The lobby training was yesterday. It was really successful, really popular. Some grad students even came out. We all know how hard it is to get grad students to come to things put on by the ASUC. So it was really exciting. People have already expressed that they want to see another one. And so our next lobby day is probably going to be February 11th. So if you all want to put that on your calendars, if you've been interested in going to a lobby, it'll probably be in the morning. We should be back by 2 or 3. Unfortunately, they don't really do their committee meetings with students in mind, but I would definitely say it's a great learning experience, even if you're not a poli-sci major. And then last week I went to the Regents meeting, helped Spencer Pritchard from this campus and a couple of folks from UCLA deliver a campus with demands to President Napolitano, partially about the tuition increase, but also about a lot of other things like divesting from fossil fuels, adequately funding sexual assault programs on campuses, because they've repeatedly said like, oh yeah, we want to listen to all the demands on the task force, but they aren't actually prepared to give us more money. So those are all the things I can think of. If you all have any questions, I'm sure I forgot something.
Questions for Caitlin? Senator Pavuzzi?
Hi, Caitlin. Thank you for being here. What time is your cheese social?
Yeah. It's 6 to 7:30, right here, your favorite room.
Any other questions? Senator Frankel?
I wanted to know about the graduate student engagement, because what kinds of graduate students you find are most engaged, and if you have any like general comments as to how to engage grad students, and I guess with advice for all senators and everyone in the room.
Yeah. I would definitely contact the other grad execs. Our grad equivalent of me is just like down as fuck. She's really awesome. And so like she's been able to bring people on board pretty easily. She's pretty popular and well liked in her committee.
I'm gonna be that person. I know many people know that I'm gonna be that person. We, as a Senate class, have decided that we are going to avoid profanity in the Senate space. And I'm gonna ask you to please abide by that as well. Thank you. And also thank you for your information for graduate students.
Any other questions? Thank you, Caitlin. Next up, we have Academic Affairs Vice President Mansheng Cha.
Cool. So, to give a more detailed report on CAPRA last week, that was a meeting with Harry LeBrown, and Joseph Greenwell, and CAPRA was feeling very concerned about what was going on with Lower Sproul. I think they have leftover hurt feelings from the California Memorial Stadium. But it's a very different situation where people will actually want to go to Lower Sproul, and the wings will actually provide service to students as opposed to charging ridiculously high fees. So that was kind of the overview of what happened with CAPRA. Obviously, they're still very concerned, but I know that we as students very much support this project and are really looking forward to August/September. Except me, because I won't be here at that time. Well, I graduated. Anyways, the Vice Chancellor of Equity and Inclusion Search is ongoing. Obviously, with the job specification, there was a very, very, very rough draft on Monday that we had a conference call about. And when they make the revisions, I'll be sure to send that out to see what you all think. But the survey has closed. If you want to make a last-minute comment on what kind of qualities the new VC-EI should have, the kind of experience, the background, all of that stuff, feel free to email me. I believe I sent out all the questions, the kind of guiding questions from earlier. So, yeah. My phone keeps buzzing, I'm sorry. Let me just turn that off. Great. A revision to the grants launch, it is being moved to February 9th so that the video explaining all the grants can launch at the same time as the grants themselves. Yeah, so there will be a fancy video. I will be sure to send that to FICOM so that you all can enjoy the fruits of their labor. We are also looking to present a special order on February 11th. Ideally, Justin, if you could put that on for the February 11th schedule, that would be awesome. Like Pavan mentioned, the charrette is happening on March 4th, and Kathy is bringing folks from SACU who are able to make it. That's the Student Advisory Council on Undergraduate Education. And that committee is actually looking for more students to fill positions. So if you all want more students who you know who will be active participants, and ideally actually second or third years, because then they can stay on SACU for longer. that would be awesome. Send me names, let me know, get in touch with me. We have at least 3 spots that we need to fill because of a schedule conflict with now former members. So yeah, just keep in touch with me about that. That way we can have more than just the 10 ASUC allotted spots, but actually students on not only CQ but able to attend the Charrette. Speaking of CQ, I was there earlier with Austin, where we discussed food security, which hopefully will be central to campus strategy moving forward. The reports are somewhat alarming in terms of the level of food security that that not only our campus is facing, but UC-wide. And so hopefully, actually, UC Berkeley is pushing addressing food insecurity in ways that many other campuses are not. And so we're hoping that the campus will buy in more to what CE3 is doing and be more involved with food insecurity. Alec has submitted a grants bill to streamline the grants process, which will show up, I guess, in Monday's committee. Carly is from my office, and also Rishi's office is in touch with the Committee on Committees. There are many potential vacancies among Academic Senate, so hopefully I can get that out to you all early next week. And the UC Berkeley Food Security Committee retreat is this Friday, and then the newly formed Student Advisory Committee on Financial Aid and Education is this Thursday, and I will report back to you all on that next Wednesday.
Hi. So I was just wondering if we could have the AAVP bookmarks to pass out during PsyCom, because we get a lot of questions about that. So, yeah.
Well, we're gonna try to get a new print of those as soon as possible with new updated dates.
Thank you for coming in. I know it's really, really far ahead of when, but I was thinking during the week, I know that you do a lot of work for decreasing student stress levels, kind of providing them with academic resources. Would it be possible to book actual physical locations to increase the amount of study spaces, either on campus or maybe Anahead, something like that? Because I know that places like Moffitt fill up really fast, or FSM, and a couple of students have approached me wondering if that's a possibility. So I just want to get your input and see if that's possible through AAVP.
Sure, I'll definitely look into that in terms of planning ahead for Wellness Week, I guess. Yeah, that would be Wellness Week, and during RR Week. That is also something that I forgot to report on last week, is that from last semester, in terms of Wellness Week, unfortunately Wellness Week did not go as smoothly as planned because there was so much rain during those days that a lot of our events got canceled, which means that we have a bigger budget for this semester's Wellness Week. So thanks for bringing that up. That is much appreciated.
Thank you.
Everyone, Shane, thank you. So I was wondering, I'm not sure if this falls under your jurisdiction, and maybe for all the senators, for the scholarship committees we sit on, I haven't been I'll reach out to them now, I'm thinking about it, but I haven't even contacted, I haven't talked to them about that. The scholarship committees that we all sit on, are those just not starting yet because people haven't applied?
So scholarship committees are not going to start up until a little bit later, I think shortly after grants, because the nature of our scholarships is that we have more scholarships available in the fall and less in the spring, and so it's a smaller, less intense timeline.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Thank you, Jane.
And thanks, Joe, for the live stream.
Next up, we have student advocate Risha Hujo.
Hello everyone, hope you're doing well. Right now we have a moderate case flow, about 10 that are currently active. We're currently recruiting, so if you want to spread the word about that, we'll send you an email with our information. We have an info session tomorrow. If anyone in your community is interested in joining, please have them talk to me. Sexual violence policy, today was a kickoff for the It's On Us campaign that the Student Affairs is working on that we've been helping set up. So please check that out online and share those pictures widely, and you'll see the posters distributed across campus. Also, tomorrow, the UCY Task Force on Sexual Violence Prevention is going to meet for the first time for our new phase. Main things on the docket for this set of policy talks is around how we're going to structure investigations and adjudication and what resources we're going to provide to respondents. So that's going to be ongoing. OCR is coming to campus, as you also have a campus-wide email. They're going to have open office hours, and we'll also be talking to different constituent groups. So let me know if you want to talk to them specifically about something or if you'd like me to raise. We're in the process of hiring an assistant director for OPHD, so we're currently interviewing candidates for the Office of Prevention of Harassment and Discrimination. So that's ongoing. And then the banking consolidation, thank you for those that reached out to me with comments or concerns. Please continue to do so if you have any other thoughts, and we're happy to meet with you and talk about exploring where we can take those. So with that, I'm happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, Rishi, for coming in. I emailed back to your, I forgot what his name was, but he responded. I think we have like a tentative date set for either late this Friday or Monday.
Yes.
I'm wondering, can you send us any resources to like learn more about this before we come into that meeting, just so we're better informed?
Sure. So you want some more materials about what's going on with that?
Yeah. So has there, like, even from like last year when this was being discussed, I'm sure there's some things that you probably know more about than I would because I wasn't involved with that at the time.
Totally. So actually, not a whole lot's changed. The email I sent out to, I think, the Olo Senate that kind of laid out all the different issues that were going on is basically the framework, and there's the same topics on that. If you can't find that, I'm happy to shoot it to you again, though.
Thank you.
Any other questions, Senator Border?
Hi, Rishi. So I know you spoke with Megan this morning, but I just wanted to again emphasize that at the meeting tomorrow, we are against respondent advocates and would like that to be emphasized at the meeting, as well as discussing basically like what the students are going to be doing at the next retreat, because we got the email saying we're going to come, but if you could just make that known, I think we can talk about this more offline also. And then again, we've talked about this also, the OPHD hiring committee concerns and how there's no survivor on that committee, and we have concerns with the office, and yet there's nobody who has concerns besides you sitting on that hiring committee. So I know we're going to have the open hour visits, which will be really great, so just let us know when those are so we can attend, and if you could just make known those concerns again, that would be really, really helpful. Thank you.
And for the respondent stuff, I'm happy to talk more about that offline. And then also in terms of the second bit about OPHD, I know we raised it together in that email, but it seems like it hasn't gone through, and it's definitely something I'll bring up on Friday during the retreat. I'm really sad that you're going to be there, but we'll have to figure out a way to get those opinions across to them as well.
Senator Fitzcott?
Hi, Rishi. Could you elaborate actually on the different issues with the respondent, and
Sure.
so that we can talk to or here at the Senate class?
Yeah, totally. So right now what's being discussed is how, so now that we've asked every campus to hire someone who's going to provide resource and support survivors, how we under Title IX need to provide equity to those that we've charged. So if the university is going to provide resources and allocation, some argue that we have to provide some sort of resource allocation of equal weight under Title IX to those that are respondents. So I think what the task force is trying to figure out is how that should manifest itself and what it should look like. So where I see this being something that's worth exploring is in relation to how we are working to rehabilitate those. So for example, if we expel a student, and this is a point I brought up during the Regents meeting as well, and we do nothing to educate or rehabilitate or get them to change the behavior, I think we're failing our mission. Because essentially what that means is we're sending them back out into the state or into the nation where they could cause more harm to others. And we're not playing a role in trying to actually change the behavior. We're just saying, let's remove them from our campus. And I'm arguing that that's not good enough. Because if we just expel them and put them out there and they cause more harm to others, I think we're failing our mission in a way. So the question is, how can we educate and rehabilitate those that have been found responsible while simultaneously doing what we need to do to keep our campus community safe, which might entail expulsion or suspension or whatever that might be. So I think when we think about someone supporting respondents, we're thinking about, could someone be the person who's supposed to organize that? Additionally, say we have people that are going on interim suspension. So before they've been found responsible, we're saying there's a threat to the campus community, you need to be put on hold, essentially, you need to be suspended in the interim while we figure out what to do. And then when your hearing comes, you'll come back and do the hearing. But in the meantime, you can't be on campus. Say in the off chance that that person's then found not responsible, then we have to figure out a way to recoup the cost of the interim suspension. So we're trying to figure out if there's a role to be played for someone to organize the logistics of that, / coordinate the rehabilitation efforts. So that's what I view to be some of the roles that this person could play in that position.
Senator Britzcott?
Just to follow up, thank you for sharing that. We can talk more offline, but I guess for me, coming from a point of understanding that there's been a long history of administrative abuses and institutional mechanisms that help perpetuate rape culture on our campus, hearing about this makes it seem like we're institutionalizing within these reforms ways to help protect rapists or perpetrators of sexual assault. And I understand that there are some real concerns, but what steps are being taken to make sure that this isn't going to be either in reality or in perception a safeguard for perpetrators?
Totally. That's a major challenge. And I think also when we're talking about how we're even looking at the whole adjudication structure from how we do hearings and all that, it's going to be a question of how we make it fair and not perceived to be unfair to those survivors that want to participate in a fully and active way. So I think partially the way we address it is by having a survivor advocate, right? Having a dedicated person who's going to be helping the survivor in every step of the process. So that's one piece of it. Second is, I agree with you, the perception of having someone that's going to work as helping respondents coordinate this will be perceived to be someone that's trying to provide advantage to them in the university process. I think that we separate that is that they shouldn't be providing advice on how to handle their hearing, right? It should be about service coordination. So it's about distinguishing between, are we helping them actually like, quote unquote, tactically handle the hearing, or are we trying to figure out the back end, which is services of counseling, rehabilitation, and that kind of thing. So part of it lies in the distinguishing between those two components, but it's hard. And I'm not going to say that it's easy in any way. So it's going to be a challenge that we're going to continue to figure out a way to face.
Senator Calusi?
Thank you, Rachel. Yeah, I'm a little, I understand where y'all are coming from and the idea of, like, you don't want to release these people to the public without, rehabilitating them. But because sexual assaults are a case-by-case basis, and some of these people are extremely mentally ill, and others just, didn't ask whatever. How are y'all going to, in the event this goes through, make everything so specific for each perpetrator that it's not like a mandatory workshop they go to for 6 weeks, that someone who's severely mentally ill rapist is with someone who I don't want to polarize it, but someone who's less quote mentally ill in terms of it. When you do research on sexual assaults and perpetrators, some of them are really, really, really mentally ill, and it's really hard to fix them. And I'm just worried that generalizing it is how I'm seeing what would happen at this big university is a 6-week course you have to take, and I think that's awful. And that's my personal opinion. So what would y'all do instead? What are some of the ideas?
Yeah, absolutely. So I guess to start with, right now, you talked about a really key point. We have absolutely nothing we're providing. We're saying go to Tang. If we expel you, you're not going anything, right? Then you're off in the world. Who knows? If we're suspending you, then we're saying go to Tang. Without, say, developing resources that are really equipped to kind of handle that specific type of rehabilitation or discussion. And right now, there's no one overseeing that process, right? That's, I think, the idea behind this is that someone's responsible for guiding that rehabilitation, checking in, seeing what the development is. Because at the end of the day, again, I just think that we're doing ourselves a disservice if we think we're helping by just say we're moving them and saying go out in the world. Because I think we're setting ourselves up for people going out there and causing more harm. And I'm trying to figure out how can we find a balance between, like Austin mentioned, not, say, trying to provide advantage to those that are going through the system or going through the hearing process, but to provide the resources we need to actually prevent moving forward from these same individuals.
Senator Broder?
So my main issue is just that the campus lately has had a really, really big focus on respondents as of late. In every conversation that I've had and the UC-wide task force, I think it's mostly coming from the UC task force, which is why I brought it up because we're going to it tomorrow. So I just think that, yes, they should not be sent into the world, and there are a lot of conversations right now trying to figure out like what we should do in the Title IX complaint response committee and stuff that I'm on. We're trying to like figure out alternatives with the caseworkers and stuff like that. But I think the main thing is that under Title IX, it should not be like, here, you have an equivalent to the survivor advocate for a respondent, because that would be, as Megan called it, the rapist advocate, and that's not what we're looking for. They need to have like resources, but it needs to not be like, from what I've heard from these conversations, a lot of it is like, they're experiencing an equal trauma, and that needs to be like, no, this is not trauma. You are not facing trauma. Like, we need to somehow make that more clear in conversations, because I don't know that the UC task force really understands that, and thinks that they need equal resources for a trauma case, when like that's not what the respondent would be going through. So survivor does need what we have now. The respondent would not.
Yeah, I think we're still trying to figure out the specifics for what this position is going to look like, right? For a full-time employee versus someone doing 50% of their job, what the specific responsibilities of that job will be. Of course, they have to be different, right? They're not facing the same situation. They're facing very different situations with very different needs. My main goal is how can we design a position that will address those needs? Chief among them being, if they're found responsible, how are we doing rehabilitation? If they're not found responsible and they did some sort of interim suspension, how are we recouping for that loss? And providing basic guidance on questions as they go through the process, right? So my interest is in addressing the needs that are present there. And there are no way the same as the issues that survivors are going to face when they're undergoing this investigation. It has to look different. I think the real question is, what are going to be the nuance to that, and what are the roles it's going to play?
Any other questions? Thank you, Rishi.
Thanks.
Next up is my report. I'm going to keep it short because most of it is on the report. What wasn't included is a lot of reorganization stuff for the AVP office. We're currently going through a lot of structural changes so that we can better support the intern class that's moving in. More mixers, more whatever, in order to actually support them. I actually want to get feedback from the seniors in the room because I want to plan an event specifically for the interns in order to have them come in and get paired up with different seniors so that we could help them develop like a 4-year plan if they want to develop one in a particular direction, like with our seniors as examples. I don't know how great we are as examples, but a lot of conversations this week was around the referendum, specifically the ASUC one. Senator Gensky and I had a really productive conversation with Superb the other day as to the actual tangible effects that the referendum can bring and how to coordinate the marketing when the springtime comes. We're looking forward to doing this with the Public Service Center. I think they just sent all of you an email as well, inviting all of you to come and talk with the new executive director of the Public Service Center. I believe they're going to be in that particular meeting, but we're also going to be talking to them separately, as well as other people on the board. The last one that I really wanted to talk to all about was the Cal Lodge presentation that I got to talk to the architects Berkeley about. I don't have enough copies of this, so if you all could share while I run through like brief floor plans, that would be the best way. Probably like 3 to 1 person side. actually looked through, sorry for the audience who can't see this presentation, I could try to create a digital version of this so that it could be if you turn to the vision, the Cal Site possibilities page, they had, based on the feedback that they got, there was different particular zones that they're working on, specifically like the auditorium space and whatnot, that the student organizations that decide to rent out the space could actually use. What this particular presentation focused heavily on was the actual building itself, because everything else around it is dependent on how the building will be structured. So I'm not 100% sure how much y'all remember from the architect's visit last time, last semester, but they did make substantial changes to it based on the fact that we're pretty limited on our budget. I don't think that's like a surprise to anyone. If you look at the next page, that is the lower level, and for folks, specifically Senator Gordon and Senator Desalia, who actually went to the site, this is a very different design from what is currently there right now. We currently have like this like really strange dark basement area that like has a lot of storage. With bathrooms that aren't currently feasible with not adequate plumbing anymore. And so this space was completely changed to put the bathrooms on the top level so that it would open up more outside towards the bottom. Because right outside where the doors are located is like the fire pit and all of that stuff, to provide additional space for student organizations to gather, not necessarily in the main room, but on the lower floor as well, as both like an inside, outside kind of space. Do you all know what I'm referring to right now? So originally the bathrooms were over here, so it blocked the entrance from the outside. So now they will be shifted inwards into the opposite end of the building, so that this one could have direct access to the outside area. And another thing that we are looking for feedback for is specifically the multi-use in the game room and the storage area directly to its left. Could be modified into different purposes. It could be divided into single room housing, or it could be changed into just like a multi-purpose room, which it is right now. So depending on your feedback, but let me quickly run through the other ones. This is like a brief 5-minute presentation, by the way. I'm just running through it like really quickly. And we could sit down in more depth, specifically for senators who are interested. Phase 1, main level floor plan. That is like the biggest, most dramatic change that like might be most relevant to all of you, especially phase 2, the deck. The main room, based on a lot of our feedback, has been significantly expanded with like a smaller kitchen. If you know the floor plan of the Cal Lodge, it was very much like a very huge industrial kitchen that isn't really like positioned very well because it's like right at the entrance. So decreasing that as well as increasing the great room where a lot of student organizations could do whatever meetings, events, coordinations of like larger discussions or whatnot was the central focus of this entire renovation plan. And simultaneously, when you look around, like you kind of notice that this building looks a little bit bigger than what was originally drawn in our old floor plans. It's because they added a new addition to the left and right of the staircase. So that would help with all the ADA accessibility guidelines, have an elevator shaft that would go all the way from the bottom floor and all the way up. If you look through the other pages, they also have a restroom on different floors as well, so it's not just directly on the bottom level. Yes?
Is the entryway from the farthest entrance where the signage is now, or is this entryway the kitchen?
So yeah, so this was the original kitchen. Like this would have been the kitchen entryway, and then this would it's like extended a little bit. Yeah, so the kitchen would be a little bit smaller, but more like homey, like to like make it more like a residential kitchen rather than an industrial kitchen to like kind of engage everyone, and would open up directly into the deck. Which, based on the feedback that the architects received, the deck is a little bit smaller, but it's not necessarily super small. It's like 20 feet by 20 feet, which is still really big. But which is like based on our budget. What's really cool is that there's going to be an addition of a library section for studying and an additional room at the very top above the great room, which is a conference room, so that should be used as an alternative dining hall or whatever, just because a lot of different people come to vacation for different reasons, and if they have like a business venture that they want to do, they can still utilize that room as a conference room. It's a partner. And the library would obviously be used as a staff student organizations. The next page, probably the last thing I'm going to go through, and then y'all could look at the actual renderings, which will help you visualize what exactly it would look like. But the upper floor, originally, we wanted to have like a mixture between single occupancy rooms and like larger like space rooms. Right now, it's currently layouted in a dorm style, very open, not single occupancy rooms, no private rooms. This is mostly because of budget, but can be changed depending on what the senators like actually feel about that, and other feedback that we're probably going to reach out to other student organizations that have been using this in the past. One of the suggestions that they gave was to divide sections using like furniture slash like tarp. Like tarp sounds really bad, but like they said that would look good. So like being able to like be flexible with like designated areas, so that if like for example they want to separate it into 3 spaces for different student organizations, they could do that, or 2 or 1 or whatever, and they would the necessary furniture as well. So that's a brief like run through. The main feedback that I want to collect from all of you is, do we want to have the Cal Lodge have private rooms? Do you feel like student organizations would need that? As well as, do you feel like the deck, as it currently stands, it doesn't have a staircase going directly outside downstairs? If you want an addition of another stairs, and then the lower level multi-game room, if you want that to turn that into something else. So 3 main things. But if you have any additional feedback, I believe Ivan's email is printed on the very front cover of this document. You could give him that feedback as well. So I just threw a lot of information on all of you. If you have anything to follow up, you definitely talk about it. But yes, if you have questions, I can answer them right now. So I'll send them to you.
Thanks, Justin. Just a quick question. So Cal Lodge we're looking at as a space for both student organizations and alumni, etc. So that's the only reason I think like maybe like 1 or 2 private bedrooms might be good if a family stayed there or something. I don't know. That's just what I'm thinking. But other than that, I think it looks awesome. I love the bathroom move. And, yeah.
Another thing we have to consider is that our current business management structure that we've implemented utilizes a collaboration between the adjacent properties. And so the other properties that are right next to it are all like private room types. And so families could check out like one room with like 2 beds or 1 bed or whatever. Versus ours was originally supposed to be like for really large groups. And so because we're under the same management structure, like there's not necessarily a need to like compete with the same people that are right next to us, but also taking into consideration that we might not have this like management person in the long run, and so maybe we have to have some volunteers. But would that mean like would they successfully compete with the adjacent property if we're not under the same umbrella? I don't know. So like all of these things are stuff that we have to consider. Senator Pascal.
Hey Justin, we can, I'd love to meet and talk about this, but could you clarify in the difference in the phase 1 and phase 2 that that's just the addition of the deck, it looks like, and so in the interim between these 2 phases of construction, what would the facility look like? Would it, like how would they kind of accommodate for that, maybe for winter or something?
Right, so it's in 2 specific stages because stage 1 is predominantly like indoor renovations, like changing of walls, plumbing, all the necessary things to get it up and running, and then the deck in itself is like a very like large, like grandeur addition that could happen that would benefit like I don't know, like sales and stuff mostly, and also provide like a quasi outdoor seating area for whoever decides to rent out the area. And so it's with the understanding that like we don't have to renovate everything at once, because the deck is the most expensive part of all of this. And so if we want to do it in 2 different phases, collect like X number of dollars to like do the phase 1, and then like 10 years later decide to add the deck, but that's still a possibility. But the phase 1 aspect is like if we move forward with that without the deck, it's still like a functioning, capable space. It's just without like that extra seating. Yeah. Senator Gordon.
So to answer some of your questions, in my opinion, the game room is necessary, and I want to keep it that way. Also, I know this is just layout, but I was hoping we would have gender-neutral bathrooms, not separated. And I think we definitely need capacity for single occupancy rooms. But I don't know if it would be in our best interest to be building walls to do that. I think the idea of sliding doors is one I prefer, just so that the space is flexible. But I think it needs to have that option. And was there one other thing? I forget. Did you have another question for us? Single occupant, yeah, private, yeah. Oh, as long as there's elevator access, I don't think we need stairs going directly down.
Any additional questions in
Hi, so I was just looking at the square footage numbers that they provided, and I'm a little bit confused. So is the original square footage kind of what we have right now, and the new square footage is what we're going to have total, or what they're adding on in addition to the old square footage? So any of the pages, it usually goes from 2,000 something square feet available in the original, and then in the new, they're all around the 1,000 square foot range. And I don't know if that's all additions or if we're actually decreasing the amount of square footage we have available.
Yeah, sorry, I totally forgot to mention that. Thank you for pointing that out. So in the current Cal Lodge right now, there's a section that kind of juts out, and that's where Dan Brooks stayed. So our manager or whatever, who lived in the Cal Lodge as part of the managing process, he had his own separate room, and so it's this awkward little thing that comes out on the side. One of the things that they proposed was that this room actually doesn't really do very much for the entire layout as a whole. And if you visit, it's every part of that section is on different tiers, and so ADA accessibility is all wrong, and there's just a lot of different problems with that addition. And so rather than adjusting that particular space, we just wanted to cut that out and then include the stair that would create the actual ADA accessibility that would go all the way up for the elevator and the stairs and the additional issues.
So if I'm understanding that correctly, the additional portion of Cal Lodge that Dan Brooks was saying was around 1,000 square feet. Is that? I just don't.
It wasn't. I'm not 100% sure about the numbers either, so I could get back to you. But
okay.
Based on my understanding, when they did cut it off and decided to recalculate, this is what it was that we got.
Gotcha. Okay. Thank you.
Yeah.
My guess, even though I wasn't there, is that that's additional square footage, just because the spot where they put the elevator on the drawing, that has nothing there right now. So it couldn't be taking away space.
I like the new layout a lot better, especially with the multi-use game room being a lot more open and the bathrooms basically switch sides. In terms of storage on the lower level plan, are there possibilities of us being able to rent out equipment? Because that could be, I guess, potential profit that we would be making, and especially if it just kept in that area. Having that extra option would be good. I do echo with, I want to echo Senator Gordon's plan with the sliding doors. at least into thirds at least. Because groups may not come in a full like 20, 40, whatever capacity we have. Probably 10 would be like a good divider for each tier. And that's pretty much it. I really like the renderings that they have and the possibilities that they put in the front.
Thank you. Any other questions, suggestions, concerns, requests? Okay, thank you. Moving on to the ASUC official reports. Okay. Yes.
Hi again, Justin. Can you elaborate on the request for proposal that you were talking about and Berkeley group, just to give more background information?
Yeah. So my business development director that works in the EVP, one of the main things that she's been trying to work on all throughout last semester was to try to figure out what would be the best student organization classification that she could present to PyCon, so that all of you have a framework to work with, suggestions that we eventually one of the things that she wanted to do, instead of utilizing the $8,000 budget that she had, was to hire a consulting group to not work by herself and actually coordinate that type of process. And so what originally happened when she sent out the RFP was that only Berkeley Business Society responded. And so that's kind of like what we structured as a bill and went through FICOM. And what we also kind of talked about was the possible conflict of interest that could arise with a student organization that is looking through other student organizations' finances and whatnot that would actually implicate. Another concern came up that, like, for example, the Berkeley group or Berkeley Consulting didn't hear about the RFP, and so like, was this actually a fair process, or would they be better? We also talked about how the Berkeley group doesn't provide or doesn't require like funding to actually like, move forward with the project, and so wouldn't that be a better investment of our money and so on. And so these are all like different questions that were proposed last semester, and I know that didn't get particularly resolved in PyCon, which is why I want all of you to at least have that discussion again. Moving forward, all of the different student organizations and consulting groups on this campus have a different timeline as to when they decide to put their projects, semester projects in, right? And so it's kind of like on us, like if we wanted to make an RFP happen, that would have to be sent out as soon as possible in order to have consulting groups actually be able to have time to talk about it. Like, is this something that they want to actually pursue, right? We can move forward with any other student organization. My only thing is that because we sent an RFP during the first process and BBS responded, if you want to change it from BBS, you have to send out another RFP and go through that entire process of like different organizations fitting and presenting their case and then selecting in FICOM and then signing the contract through FICOM and getting that for the Senate. And that's like another month. So that's like why talk about it. But yeah, I don't actually know what came where. I was hoping that we'll talk about it during our community reports.
Just to clarify, I know that we've been like discussing this in PyCon, but overall, the goal of this whole project is to kind of go through how the ASUC allocates money and improving that process, and then auditing clubs to make sure that the money is being used correctly. If I'm understanding the whole.
It doesn't have to go that far, per se. I don't want like this consulting group to be like, oh, this is how you audit student groups. That's up to FICOM or Conrad or whatever you all decide. The main part of this was to create a general framework for how student organizations would be classified rather than just SISG or SAG or whatever, so that that framework could also be used to change the space bylaws and the finance bylaws, because everything is bound together right now. And without actually changing the classifications, you can't really change how you're going to support student organizations. And so that's kind of where we're at, kind of at a standstill. I know like Conrad is going to be talking about it at some point. I know FICOM has been talking about all last semester, but that's kind of what the main scope of the project would be.
Thank you.
I think okay. Is there any way that we can expedite this process, especially if we have an idea and get a good proposal from a group that provides the most competitive price for the ASUC? Because I agree that the project needs to start, but I also agree that we've kind of gotten the idea that there are groups out there willing to do it for a lot less, have a lot of experience, and are probably like down. So is there any way we can just like bring the proposal to Senate, all of Senate votes on it, and they just get started? Because I think that would be helpful.
The contract would have to. So, I mean, there is an obvious loophole. It's to just like pull the finance bill and then like just make an amendment having like ASUC Senate approves the contract, like, and then you just get started. Whether that's like ethical, that's up to you. I'm not passing the bill. I'm not voting. So that's completely up to you. Any other questions? Okay, thank you. Moving on to ASUC official reports for 5 minutes and 5 minutes for questions. First, we have Attorney General Natalia Carnucci.
She's like, she's here in front of the bath.
Okay, I mean, I could go through the people.
Hi everyone, I am so happy that I'm here today. I just have a few announcements. So first and foremost, I want everyone, and I mean everyone, to actually start reading the Constitution and the bylaws, because I'm starting to get a lot of questions and confusion on what's really valid and invalid and things like that, and I want you to actually know the timelines for what's required this semester. I'm going to send out a timeline to you in terms of like when lobby requirements are due, when, you know, the outreach hours that we're going to talk about and things, what's due and when it's due. But do not just depend on us to do it. I wanted to read through the bylaws and the Constitution so that you are aware of the things that are due, when it's due, and the requirements. Also, I want to bring to your attention 1205, which is a lobby requirement. I'm not supposed to announce it just yet. It's, I guess it's 4 weeks before elections. But you're required to do lobbying this semester, so please start looking into that, and please take a look at bylaw 1205. I can also happily announce that I received the judgment from Judicial Council. Based on that, Senator Lee and Senator Nguyen are no longer facing removal, so congratulations. I'm also investigating any other case any other senator that may or may not be up for removal, so I will inform everyone by email and within the next 48 hours. And I have today with me Heidi, the Chief Accountability Officer, and she's going to talk to you a little bit about the outreach hours, cabling, and a couple of things that you need to pay attention to.
If you saw my email, I sent out the absence sheet that I'll be filling out throughout the semester.
The reason will be noted for the absence directly on the sheet. If you have any disputes, please email me back within a week of your dated absence. You have to attend 10 Senate meetings to stay in office. And Natalia talked to you about the Judicial Council decision. Right now, it looks like everyone is good on Senate committee meetings. It doesn't look like it hurt anyone, but I'm looking further into that. As she said, the lobby requirement, you have a lobby requirement. The bylaw states that you have to send me a report within a week of completing the lobby requirement. So if you've already completed it and you filled out a Senate report, just let me know the day that you did it so that I can look back at the report. If not, and you're filling in the future, please send me a report within a week of completing the requirement. And my last announcement is chief applications are due February 14th. So if you know anyone who's interested in CAO, can you let them know to come talk to me so I can let them know more about the position?
So I know that we have elections bylaws and the Governing Organization Act up for or bills today. So if you have any questions right now, you can go ahead and ask them. I'll stick around a little bit after so that you can ask questions if you need me to answer anything on those two specific bills. I also would like to really stress this again. Please, please, please read the bylaws and the Constitution, because that is what I have to follow when I look at whether or not there's a violation or not. I cannot look at any informal policies or anything of that sort. It's just the Constitution and the bylaw that I need to look at. Do you have any questions?
Questions?
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Next up, we have Chief Financial Officer Wenesday.
Hello. I've been working on something called creating a brand new ASUC budget. From the previous years, it's like a list of all the student groups that receive sponsorship from the ASUC and shows how much we have left, and that's it, right? But I think that's not enough. So I'm making a new budget from a blank Excel sheet, which is pretty exciting. I will give you some update when I have more information. And there are also a couple of things I'm working or thinking about, such as the potential of allocating budget for different ASUC programs or creating new programs for people that advocate for it. So, for example, stipends for senators. So, this is something that we talked about last year, but never did it. So, yeah. So, one main thing to make that happen is for someone to write bylaws for it so that it can stay continuous throughout the years. Yeah, I like that. What else? Oh, I'm also making a spring budgeting form. I mean, it's completed. It has a lot of questions. Yeah, I'll take any questions for spring budgeting or anything. Oh, by the way, if you can, please hold more office hours during the spring budgeting process because you know your communities more, and you can help them out with the spring budgeting application. And I review all the applications, but I don't actually know every single student group and how they operate as a financially or something like that. So it's better for each of you to help your own organizations. That would be better, I think. And I think next week I'll give a presentation on spring budgeting. I'll go through the actual applications so that you all can actually know what it's like, or I can answer any confusions or anything. Yeah. All right. And then.
Senator Pritzker.
Hi Dennis, thanks for coming. Could you actually elaborate on the potential for senators to get a stipend? I know, like myself personally, like I really am pinching pennies, always. So, we work so much that I would be willing to help write bylaws for that, even to get paid for this year. It creates greater access, I think, for state government. But financially, could we afford that for this year? And what does that look like in the long term?
I'm more than willing to give senators a stipend in the budget. I'm down with that. You all are here. Yeah, that's pretty amazing. So the main thing is to write the bylaws for that. And in terms of can we afford it financially, that's a very interesting question. Because what's it called? In order for us to allocate budget, we have to move things around, maybe cut down some budget on something else, which I don't know where we can cut from, since we've been running deficits in the past years already. If the ASUC student fee referendum passed, then there's absolutely no problem because we'll have a lot more revenue. But if that doesn't pass, then we'll have to juggle some things around and maybe give less stipend instead of the maximum amount, or but that's something that we have to work out.
Conroe will also be going through second rounds. Any other questions? Senator Hardy?
Hi Dennis. Just a logistical question. Is your BCAL updated so we can schedule meetings?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay.
But if you can't find any spots, just email me because it's pretty packed. Yeah.
Any other questions?
One more thing. What is it called? So the ASUC student referendum is currently in the UCOP, getting reviewed. I think they said something about it will be back by the end of this month, which is right now. But I'm still not hearing anything. Following up so that we can get it passed through the Senate and get on the ballot. Yeah.
Well, thank you, Dennis.
Yeah, thank you.
Next up, we have Chief Communications Officer Joe Wilson.
Hey everyone, just a couple things. Live streaming is happening now, so I'll email out the live stream link before every Senate meeting, so if you want to forward it to people or let people know. Second thing, tabling and office hours starting up again next week. We didn't do it for January because there was only a week and a half, and we didn't want the complication of doing the math there. So we're going to start keeping track of that next week. I think Chloe sent out a schedule or a calendar thing for you to sign up for tabling and office hours. So let me know or her know if you have any questions about that.
Senator Lee?
Did we ever find the tent?
I found the canopy, so that's the expensive part, so that's good. Because that's the custom printed thing. I think that the tent poles may have been broken and thrown away. That's what I think happened. So I'm working on that. Yeah.
When do office hours and trial hours go into effect? Is it this week or next
week?
Okay.
So yeah, starting next Monday. Yeah.
In the case we don't recover the tablecloth, Could we maybe add some items that would help us secure the ASUC banner on the table? Because we have two, and how we usually do is we put one on the table, and we put one on the front, and we duct tape the front, but the one in the front always kind of gets loose. So maybe like...
I actually located one of the tablecloths. We had two, but I found one. And Chloe and I are trying to work out a better way to store this stuff. I don't know if you have any input, but I think the format that we did last semester, things often got crumpled or kind of forgotten in the Senate lounge in the corner. And we want to make sure that the tablecloth is always stored nicely and not lost.
I'm willing to contribute my Senate locker since I don't use that often. I'm not sure if it's big enough. Did we find the screw for the wheel for the ASUC? I mean, because if not, like, just, no jokes, like, not joking, maybe we could order in a replacement screw because I think it's kind of important. I know the table, or the wheel does a lot for us and brings up a lot of people, so, yeah.
Hi Joe, thanks for coming and speaking. In regards to the live stream, so there's going to be a different link every week?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, because it's a different video. After the live stream is done, the video will automatically be on YouTube, like uploaded as the weekly set video. So that makes it a lot easier for us too.
Is there, thinking about like a community newsletter if I wanted to send out, is there a YouTube channel that all these will go up on? Or?
Yeah. It's UC Berkeley ASUC, the YouTube channel. So you can always, every week it'll just go on that YouTube channel. If you click on the channel, it'll come up. The first thing on the channel will show the live stream.
Thank you.
Yep.
Any other questions? Thank you, Joe.
Thanks.
Moving on to the committee reports. First we have chairs and the rest of it.
Hi everyone. I think, so basically Conrad passed SB 4849 as amended by unanimous consent on January 26th. I hope you can pay attention to this report because those two bills contain all of the work for the whole semester. So moving on, within the election rules and bylaws overhaul, candidates can no longer be registered under multiple parties, and the Constitutional and Procedural Review Committee will be titled the Governance Committee instead. And so the name change was in SB 49. I personally wasn't there when it happened. I went to the bathroom during that one moment. But since Conrad's name will be changing to GovCom, I personally thought about this, and I believe that I thought the idea that it would be more preferable maybe to be called the Internal Affairs Committee, simply for the sake of balance with the External and University Affairs Committee. I'm saying this now so senators can get their thoughts for when I pull the bill, if they want to have any points of debate or any questions. For me, this is simply because when I relate to students, I tell them I'm part of CONREP, and that stands for the Constitutional and Procedural Review Committee. They don't really understand, they feel like it doesn't really relate to them. But I feel like knowing there's an External Affairs Committee and an Internal Affairs Committee within the ASUC, students can much better understand what our committee does for students. So I think this is also great for transparency. If any senators feel strongly enough to amend the title or anything within SBR 49, please pull the bills for debate since I hope you all read it, but that's what we've been working on the whole entire last semester. CONREP now will also be meeting at 8:30 p.m. The definitive location is yet to be announced. Thank you.
Questions for the chair of Conrad? Senator Naveed?
Hi. So, considering SB 44 is new business, FICOM and CONREP have to have this meeting together, I guess, because we can't have it separately. I just want to throw out there, like, I would like to schedule a time where we can have this meeting. Maybe do it earlier or later, but just want to throw that out there. If you want to like create like a doodle or whatever, like I'm down.
So since we have to do a joint one, and I know we discussed about this last semester, so I think the most strategic way, kind of like I think if you want to do a lot of work, is on the Senate group chat. Currently, the earliest time Conrad senators can be is 8:30 p.m. So maybe if you could find out the earliest time your committee senators can meet, and then we could just book the same room. I think that would be pretty simple, and just have that on that Monday night. I don't know if that could work that way. Alex seems concerned. Maybe we could just go to your room for that one by law bill, and then we could go back to our room and do our thing. Whatever, Alex, the man. Okay, alright, I don't want to take everyone's too much time, so we'll talk about this after the meeting.
Thank you. Next we have External University Affairs Chair,
Hi everyone. So this past week we did not meet, and so yeah.
Questions for Exxon Chair? Cool. Next we have Finance Committee Chair, Senator Nabil.
Good evening, everyone. Okay, so FB1 was passed with amendments. We allocated a total of $274.42 with Senate contingency, from Senate contingency. I just wanted to give everyone an update of how much money we have right now. So $27,000 from Senate contingency. We have $5,000 in space reservation. We have around $8,500 in Greek opportunity, and we have $14,000 in the cooperative opportunity fund. So, just so you all know how much money we have. Also, we discussed the RFP that Justin was talking about before in the FICOM, and I would actually like to propose that we send out this RFP like tonight and have continuous conversation with TBG, just telling them to create to be aware that we need the proposal as soon as possible. These are just conversations that we had in FICOM, and that's pretty much it. Yeah, any questions?
Just a comment too. It was a comment I made in FICOM as well, which is that, for a point of reference for how much money Miriam's talking about, we've spent almost all of our room reservation, and that was by design because we could use Senate contingency funding as well for room reservations. But in my opinion, we're probably going to need more money at some point, which I am cool with because it'll probably be not that much money. And I think the single most important thing we do is fund student groups, to be honest. So just know that at some point in this semester, I would probably be writing a bill. Don't think that that's coming out of left field. That's probably going to happen.
Just a question. If we had, what percentage of Senate contingency did we use last semester?
Around half.
Okay. That was it. Thank you.
How much is left for room reservation?
5,000.
Hi everyone. More of a comment, also especially to FICOM because we'll be going over this in our next meeting. Lavanya and I both sit on the technology committee within the ASUC, and we're in the process of finalizing a contract with Front Group Design. So Joe is kind of the person that's been getting this going, and I think we have a contract that's ready to go, and we would like to sign it next week, which means that it must be approved through FICOM and through Senate. I just want to let you all know right now that we already have the money allocated from taxes, so it's not going to be coming out of ASUC funds. Just want to dispel that before it becomes an issue. So really, it's signing a contract where we have the money and the group is great. So it should be a very easy decision, but I just want to make you all aware of it a week before it happens, just so you have some time to think about it, ask some questions if you need to.
Any other questions for FICOM? Thank you. Moving on the agenda is the consent calendar and immediate consideration. So we have the minutes from January 21st, SB1, SB48, SB49. Would any senators like to pull anything for immediate consideration? Senator Nabil.
I move to pull SB 49.
Okay, SB 49 has been pulled for immediate consideration. Is Does anything else need to be pulled from the consent calendar? Okay, I would like to entertain a motion to pass the consent calendar.
Seconded.
Any objections? Consent calendar passes. Moving on to immediate consideration is SP 49. I'm going to hand it over to Alec, who is the original author of the bill.
I'm going to hand off the Bo who pulled it.
Thank you, Alec. So I move to amend ASUC BL 1222 within SB 49 and basically replace every word governance with internal affairs.
Seconded.
Could you change the form of the motion to every instance of governance committee in Bill SB 49 to internal affairs committee, just because it appears in other bylaws?
I changed the syntax to what Alec Clement just said.
Is there a second to the motion?
Seconded.
Any objections? Okay, so I'm just going to move on to discussion for that particular motion. Senator John
So, I like all our names, Conrad, Governance Committee, and Internal Affairs. My only problem with Internal Affairs is that I think it makes the idea seem that Internal Affairs only works for internal ASUC events, and while we are doing most of the bylaws, well, not really constitutional revisions, but bylaws revisions, a lot of the bylaws that we do work with aren't necessarily only internally related to the ASUC. So a lot of the bylaws affect students on this campus, and I don't think that should be considered internal affairs of the ASUC. I think governance or a governance committee is able to have a more encompassing effect of what our committee does in terms of its governing documents.
Any additional comments?
Just as a person who drafted this bill, the reason when drafting we suggest that governance committee has to change is because that's a standard terminology in nonprofits, similar nonprofit boards to go with governance committee. It's kind of the industry standard, but none of us who drafted this bill have a strong preference for either name, but we do recognize that internal is a little bit complicated because what is internal and what isn't.
I also would like to propose, or maybe, I don't know how I could formally ask Dr. Spins about this, but for the option of the Governance and Internal Affairs Committee, or the Internal Affairs and Governance Committee. This is a small bathroom talk I had with Senator Pritzkat, but that was something that came up too. You have, Justin, you can hear me?
I can hear you, but it's still
what did you say?
I don't know what your motion is.
Oh, okay. So I moved to amend my previous motion to the exact syntax that Alec Clement said, but instead of internal affairs to be the governance and internal affairs.
Could we get a second on the motion first?
Second.
Yeah, I think I really don't have a strong preference. I will say anecdotally, the Berkeley Student Cooperative, we have an internal affairs committee, which is like the governance committee, and we call it IACOM. So if people are worried about how it's called, we could be IACOM, XCOM, FICOM. But if people have strong preferences, it's great. I really don't care what we do.
It's a very weak preference, but I would prefer internal affairs and governance committee simply to match external affairs and external and university affairs committee as much as possible.
Having worked at 4 nonprofits, I actually really like the idea of having a governance committee and calling it the governance committee because that is as Alex said, industry standard. But it seems like no one has a really strong opinion on it. But that is what I prefer.
So I know this is very trivial, so I'm sorry for taking up time for this, but
I actually think there is significance within this because every time I talk to students and they ask me, oh, what do you do? And I say, I think a large portion of my set of responsibility goes to chairing the Constitutional Procedural Review Committee, and they're always dumbstruck by that. And I think that there's like not a connection with it. And so I think governance helps depict a picture, but I think internal affairs really relates more to the students. I understand that there's an industry standard for governance committee as well. So I would like to compromise by including both. However, sorry for one more amendment, but I just actually like Tanae's idea better. So I would like to amend it to internal and nope, alright, never mind. Alec is not approving of it, so I'm leaving my motion as amended, and does anyone else have further comments?
So right now you're debating on the motion to insert governance and before the word internal in the motion to replace all instances of the word governance committee with internal affairs committee in SB 49. No, sorry. So right now they're voting on whether to change the first motion.
So basically you're adding
Two governance.
governance is already there, you're adding right here.
I have a strong preference for governance and internal affairs committee.
Senator Fabusi?
Yeah, sorry, just questioning.
Can you please speak into the mic?
Can we just get a straw poll? Because this is like an absurd conversation. So like, can we straw poll people's feelings? Because like, I feel like it's either going to be one way or the other, and if the majority thinks one way, we should just stick with it. That's my humble opinion. But I don't want to squelch, pun intended, anyone's freedom of speech.
Okay, so I'd like to entertain a motion to move into informal consideration so that we can do a straw poll.
Moved.
There you go. Any objections? Okay, motion passed by unanimous consent. So we have three options: governance committee, internal affairs committee, governance and internal affairs committee. Please vote for one. So the first one, who has a strong preference for? Everyone, please vote. Just vote. Who has a strong preference for governance committee? Please raise your hand. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Please put up your hands really high so I can count the votes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Please raise your hand for Internal Affairs Committee. 1, 2, 3. Please raise your hand for Governance and Internal Affairs Committee. Are you all for real?
I feel like people voted twice.
Okay, I'm gonna do a revote. It's not even a vote. It's a straw poll. So we're gonna go over all of it once more. Please vote once. It's gonna be based on whatever has the most votes. Straw polls. Governance committee. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Internal Affairs Committee. 0. Governance and Internal Affairs Committee. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay. So we're going to move out of informal consideration now and report out the new motion, which is
To replace every instance of governance committee with
Governance and Internal Affairs Committee in SB 49.
That is my amendment.
So moved. Or seconded.
Okay, so we will be moving into a vote. All those in favor? Are there any objections? Okay, motion passes by unanimous consent. That amendment will be added. Any other amendments, discussion over this bill? Thank you. I would like to entertain a motion to pass SB 49 as amended.
Seconded.
Any objections? Okay, SB 49 passes by unanimous consent. Moving on the agenda is new business. We have SB 2, SB 44, SB 50, and SB 51. Senator Sue.
Can I motion to add the Decal Board Act to new business?
Is that a number? I forgot to add it to the Alec, what number bill is Melissa's bill?
Melissa, what's your bill called?
Decal Board Act.
Both of them are on both of them are on the internet. They just weren't printed. Oh.
No, it's not. It's there. It's 52. Yeah, it's on the new business.
So, just to make this like a formal process, I would like to entertain a motion to add SB 52 to the Board Act to new business.
So moved.
Any objections? Motion passes by unanimous consent. Okay, so I would like to send SB 2 to SB 44. Conrad. I would like to send SB 50 to Vicom. SB 51 and 52 to Congress.
Seconded.
Okay, motion passed by unanimous consent. We move on to announcements. So we have like a very different order. I'll be excited. Let's go with.
Hi, fam. Sorry I was late. I'm sure y'all saw the group text. I have a lot of announcements, so get out your pencils. AMSA's Pre-Health Conference, I'm sponsoring February 7th, 8:30 to 5 in Sidda Hall. I don't know how to say it. Sidda Hall, thank you. On top of that, I met today with the director of the Career Center, Tom Devlin, and so they have that pre-med committee they want to allow me to sit on. But they want student input, and they want me to organize it. So they want me to have a pre-med forum for 20 to 30 people that I select. I want this to be like the most like representative group of people as possible. So especially senators that like represent specific student groups on campus, please reach out to your communities or like send me an email of like the correct people to reach out to, because I want to like, I'm going to hold like kind of informal interviews, essentially like prime the people to do that. But like, no, so yeah, I want like freshman, sophomore, junior, senior, all races, backgrounds, experiences, 20 to 30. It's date TBD, but it'll probably be in late February. So that's exciting because hopefully we're supposed to get advising out of that. They promised me advising last semester and we're working on it. I'm working on the wellness seminar with Rudy Mendoza-Denton, but he like won't meet with me until he meets with other people, which again makes me really suspicious. Thank you, Admin. Wellness stuff, Mads has the updates on that. Party Safe, I'm writing about that on Party Safe's new, their new like mission for the semester. We're starting a different hashtag, different website, so I'll be sending that all out. So then also last semester, I had mentioned this the other day, I had that emergency alcohol meeting for the Greek leaders in the Greek system. So I split us into 5 committees. 3 of the 5 committees have met. Thank you for the chairs of those committees. I think Senator Gabrielle and Senator Franco are still they're going to be holding their meetings. Melissa met with the UCPD committee. I'm sure she'll review that with y'all. I met with empowerment and accountability, and as well as PhD president and IFC vice president Brisk. What this is going to look like is women bartending at these events, because right now it's only men. Also women at the door, guest lists, and then we're trying to pilot a program in which men have to have sober monitors, and all of PhD sororities have sober monitors because they don't all have them yet. So that's the program we're working on. Y'all, if you're Greek, non-Greek, PhD president this semester is awesome. I am so cool. So please reach out. She really wants to work with us. On top of that, PhD, they have a really big crackdown right now that fraternities and sororities are not allowed to attend any unaffiliated fraternities until February 9th, not even for anything. It's a hard ban. There's also the no hard liquor ban. So I sit on the CERT committee under the chancellor, and we only had 2 hospitalizations welcome weekend, which is awesome because usually we have 17. Still no bueno because they're not supposed to be drinking hard alcohol, or Rush is supposed to be dry, so it was okay, but yeah, I'm meeting with that committee next week. If anyone wants to join, let me know in advance. Nisa, also, I put her in contact with the PhD president and CZ, the co-op. I really recommend y'all doing this. My co-op was really receptive. So she's giving a seminar February 5th. Y'all are welcome to come. I implore you all to come. She's working with PhD and IFC about doing a Greek presentation as well, so I'm excited about that. But yeah, it's going to be awesome. February 5th, 7 o'clock, CZ. Come, it'll be great. Y'all can be my guests and have dinner and stuff. I think that's about everything. Thanks for listening. And my warm puzzles go to M. Gordon for just making me smile. There it is.
Hey everyone. So we, in coordination with our Lead Center Co-op coordinator, Leah, I shouldn't say my office, as Packet Center people about to speak, I don't have very much an office. So me and Leah and our co-op experience manager in the BSC helped put on a resource fair on Tuesday. It's our first annual resource fair. Now that we have a co-op coordinator, we're moving towards trying to have a resource fair at the beginning of every semester. So got to work out some kinks, but it was good, successful. I was really happy about that. Tomorrow, Cupcakes and Community Welcome event at the Lead Center. If y'all haven't met Leah yet, our Lead Center co-op coordinator, go by there tomorrow in Lead Center, 12 to 2, get a cupcake, say hi. Leah is amazing. I'm so happy we have them with us. On Monday, the co-ops, if people don't know, every year we do a general membership meeting. So we have literally, hopefully over 500 members come. We probably won't hit 500, but hundreds of our members will come to our meeting. That's going to be Monday from 7 to 9 in Berkeley. Hello. In terms of co-op opportunity fund, if people, I kind of got some looks around the table when we still spent our money. I'd be happy to talk to everyone about that. We're moving forward with it in spring. If you all know the co-ops, we're very much procedural type people, and we got kind of caught up in our own process last fall, and it took us way too long to finally pass and agree on a way to move forward. Such a co-op thing, conference type stuff. Anyway, some other stuff I'll talk about, but I'll be working. Yeah, never mind. I'll talk to people offline or update in the future, but we had our SAQ, Student Advisory Council for Undergraduate Education, meeting earlier today. AVP Chow updated us about that. Let me know if you have questions. Because I'm on the SAQ, at 19 of us can get those 10 spots, then not me. So talk to President and AVP about that.
No new one. Go GCOM.
No new announcements. No new announcements.
Okay, so let's see. There's
security retreat on Friday, and it's all day. It's really exciting, and there's going to be a lot of stuff worked out from the Global Food Initiative and basically what we're trying to do at Berkeley there. If you're interested, please come talk to me. I unfortunately won't be able to be there. Also on Friday, there's a sexual assault and violence prevention all-day retreat. There was a staff retreat 2 weeks ago. Last week was the student retreat, and Friday is the joint retreat. Also not going to be able to be at that, but Rishu will be there, so let us know. We're working on getting syllabi to have information about sexual assault and mental health resources at the bottom through a committee that I sit on and through Academic Senate and the Provost. At the beginning of the semester, they were supposed to send out an email telling all students about their resource options. They conveniently forgot to put that in the email and decided that they weren't going to send out an email in response to it. So we're working on getting that for next semester, which is unfortunate. But we're trying to get the syllabi thing instead. I'm meeting with campus landscape architect and vice chancellor of real estate Leland and the facilities manager and like 3 other people next Thursday to talk about on-campus gardening and landscape. Finally, this meeting is an entire semester in the making. So we're going to be introducing our proposals, which are including like adding a fruit orchard on campus and, you know, fancy things like that, so we can actually have food that we can pick and give to students for free. That, if you want to talk to me about it, let me know. There's also a decal. You can join that decal and like actually start guerrilla gardening on campus. The climate symposium is coming together for late spring, and that's hopefully going to have UCOP co-sponsorship with my office and I'm blanking, the Cal EPA, Environmental Protection Agency. I'll let you know when that happens. Also, yeah, I met with the PHC president today. Thanks to Dreen, she's great. And we're going to work on a co-sexual assault awareness week event, which is exciting. Faculty Against Rape is really struggling right now because there are no professors really in it besides 2 who really, really want to start it, but they like don't know how because there's no other professors interested. So if you have professors that seem like really cool and interested, let me know so we can connect them all. Food pantry is open as of this week, and tell everyone that they can go there if they need. Also, Office of Civil Rights will be on campus next week. I hope you all got like 10 million emails telling me about that. But if you're interested or have constituents, please, please, please let everybody know that they can go to OCR's office hours next week. They're open, and then you can also like set up an appointment with them to talk about anything. Department of Education is investigating us right now, so this is like a very, very important time to go to that and talk to them. Okay, thanks.
I'll be emailing out whatever announcements I have. Yeah. So don't delete my email if you see it.
Hey, just a few announcements. The first is APACON, which is the Asian Pacific Islander Issues Conference. So my office is co-sponsoring the event alongside APOSITY, the Asian Pacific American Student Development. Essentially, this is a 25th annual conference. It does a lot about having dialogues and also having that space to discuss about the different issues within the API community. So I think this is a great way for folks if they want to learn more about the different issues that other communities face. It's going to be March 14th. I know there's also other events that may conflict with it, but it is an all-day event. So if y'all can mark it on your calendar or want more information about it, feel free to talk to me. There will be a lot of workshops on different topics. Next announcement. So I mentioned this before, but I sit on the Chancellor's Council for Students of Color and Multicultural Engagement. We will be having our first meeting of the spring semester, February 13th, which is 2 Fridays from now. I think I mentioned this before, but I think it's important to think about where this kind of council came from, just because, you know, with the recent, just a lot of things happening around campus climate, around ethnicity, around race. This council literally came from student-led advocacy for representation from undergraduate students, graduate students, faculty, staff to be in one room to be able to have these conversations and create changes on campus climate to improve it. So Again, it's the first of the semester, so if y'all have more information about, or y'all have anything y'all want me to add, feel free to let me know. Or if y'all have individuals that you think could contribute a lot to this conversation, feel free to send them my way. And that is all. Thank you.
So thank you, Tanae, for bringing this up already about the contract that's going to be going through FICOM coming up on Monday. So again, if you have any questions about it, I highly suggest you go look up Front Group Design. They have like a Yelp page, they have a website, as well as talk to us. There was an RFP that was finalized with them, so we can definitely discuss that with you, show it to you if you have any questions about that. Joe has been putting in amazing amounts of work into getting this contract up and running over winter break. So we really appreciate any of your input going into this contract. A lot of this save the dates. So Engineers Week, Tanae and I are going to be bugging you about it. Tanae, Sid, and I are going to be bugging you about it until it comes. So February 23rd to February 27th is Engineers Week. It's the largest event hosted by the College of Engineering and Engineering Student Council. February 23rd specifically at 5:30 p.m. Come out and hear Gwen Shotwell. She is the president and COO of SpaceX. Come talk about design innovation and STEM education. It's going to be an awesome event. So whatever major you are, I definitely highly suggest you come out. And then also save the date, STEM Day, March 14th. I know it's overlapping with some other things, but definitely come up to Memorial Day. Thank you.
Okay, hi. So on this coming Monday, February 2nd, my office and the Berkeley Service Network are putting on the Spring Service Fair in this very room, which will just be like a bunch of clubs around here and some presentations. So especially if you know any spring admits or young folks or people that are trying to do something new and different, trying to give back in critical ways, let them know to come. There'll be a little bit of food. Wellness referendum was also sent to UCOP. I haven't gotten any feedback from any of you. So either it's perfect or you haven't read it. If you just want the cliff notes of it, just come talk to me because I can do that too. So on March 7th, my office, Berkeley Service Network, and some other folks are helping to put on the Educate the Bay Summit again, which used to be a really big thing, kind of died out, trying to bring it back. Senator Truax brought it back last year. So I'm really looking for other senators to help me put that on. I'm trying to change it to be more of an opportunity for the so many education minors we have on campus to actually get a job after, right? And do jobs in local areas in ways that make an impact, that don't take away jobs from local teachers. So please help me with that. If you want to be on Improv for Charity, we're having auditions this Sunday, which is Super Bowl Sunday. Go Pats. And next Sunday. So yeah, if you're funny, and especially if you know underclassmen who are funny, especially women underclassmen who are funny, that would be great. And then the last thing is just, I had the opportunity, I had the opportunity to talk to the chancellor very quickly, and I brought up campus climate. I brought up the fact that he hadn't sent out anything about campus climate, that like, really he needs to do more about that. And his impression was that what we need to do is fundraise to have more scholarships to bring more Black students on campus, or students of color on campus. And so if you have any kind of problem with that point of view, then we need to be changing the conversation around that, because that is what his response is. And I'm so glad King is on that committee. I'm so glad we're all doing this work, but we need to be changing that. That's his first response if we want his first response to be different. So here we go.
Hello everyone. On February 4th, there is going to be a panel discussion on the shooting in Paris. Robert Alter from Center for Jewish Studies and Dr. Hatem Bazian from the Near Eastern Studies Department, as well as Saba Mahmoud from the Department of Anthropology. We'll all be on this panel, so it's a very diverse, very interesting panel, and I encourage you all to please come out to this. It's on February 4th. It's going to be in the Goldberg Room, Bold Hall, 5 to 7 p.m. I can send you more details if you want more details. On February 6th, the Cross-Cultural Student Development Office is putting on their campus climate symposium that I'm sure other people made announcements on. It's from 12:45 to 2:15 in Clark Kerr. I'll be speaking on one of the panels, and I'm pretty sure some other people are too, so come out. This is a very important symposium. I know Niso is hosting about it as well. Third, I attended a SWANA meeting this past week at the Southwest Asian North African Development Office. We're kind of like starting to grow and kind of envision what it is this community, the SWANA community specifically, needs in terms of resources. Vinay was also at this meeting, so it was a very productive conversation. Berkeley Masjid is having a community night on January 31st. This masjid was started by students, and it's something that a lot of Muslim students hold dear to their hearts, and I encourage you all to come out if you just want to chill, so say hi. Next, UCSA is going to have, the UCSA board meeting is February 7th and February 8th, as Caitlin just talked about, and the divestment resolution is being brought up. If you have any questions and you want to talk about it, I'm down to talk about it. So just email me or call me or text me, any form of communication. And finally, UC Davis is actually having their divestment hearing tomorrow, and I just wanted to give a shout out to them and send solidarity and support to the people that will be advocating on behalf of that resolution. Yeah, that's it. Good night.
Hi. Thank you all for filling out the survey for the NAT maps if you did. My bill is about turning the decal board into an ASUC commission, so if you have any questions, hit me up. On Sunday, I met with IFC External, PhD program and PhD president, PhD risk management, and IFC risk management didn't show up, but also Drew showed up. It was a great meeting. It was pretty productive. Basically, what we came up with was that we wanted a standard procedure from UCPD and BPD of what's expected when calling the paramedics for someone that's drunk. Also, we wanted to find a way to incentivize risk management because right now people are getting punished for following the rules. Also, I met with the Office of the Registrar last week, and we found a loophole for possibly allowing FDF students to take decals because right now there's a policy that basically says they can't take university classes. So we're working on that. Also, I work with Madison to email Cal Athletics, and spring admits can get free football tickets their second semester at Berkeley. Thank you.
No new announcements.
No new announcements.
Hello, party people. I'm not going to take this too long. I'm going to basically go over one application for funding, one event, and then two other applications for organizations. So the first application for funding, I know that all of you have projects that you need money for, and we're sitting on this massive pool of $1 million for technology projects. So if you have anything that you want to get funded, which is somehow, tangentially even, related to technology, talk to Sid or I. We sit on this committee. Applications are due by February 12th, so please be aware of that. And I will be at a meeting this Friday as well, so if you have any immediate questions, please direct them to me right after the meeting. Second of all, speaking of technology talks, just like Lavani mentioned, there is a Great SpaceX talk as well, and Free Ventures, which is a startup incubator on campus, is hosting a Women in Entrepreneurship talk tomorrow night, 6 p.m. in Siddhartha Daya Hall. The keynote speaker is a Cal alumna. Her name is Nanshi Liu, and she is a really, really cool innovator who developed a way to store vaccines without refrigeration, which is really key in developing countries which don't have access to refrigeration technologies all the time. And moving on to the last two. I know that I talked about BC extensively, Berkeley Consulting, last time we had a meeting. We do have an info session tomorrow night, Thursday, 7 to 9 p.m. in 10 Evans, and then an interview workshop this Friday from 7 to 9 p.m. in 145 Brunel. We highly encourage people that are outside the business field to apply. Again, I am bioengineering. Our president is EECS, political economy majors, urban studies majors, public health, and we really want people from a wide variety of backgrounds just so that we can provide the maximum value, not only for our clients, but for people within the organization as well. Also want to give a shout out to TBG, which is a Berkeley group, which does nonprofit consulting. Personally, I worked on 2 nonprofit projects as part of BC, but I knew that I wanted to work on a little bit of variety as well. But TBG focuses very heavily on nonprofit clients, and they might be doing projects for the ASUC this upcoming semester. So I highly encourage you, if you are very interested in working for nonprofits going into the future, TBG has great alumni relations, has great industry connections within that field. Their application is due tonight by midnight, so jump on that. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Thank you all.
Hello, everyone. I just have one small announcement. I met with the head of the Disabled Students Program, Mr. Paul, along with DSU and the Executive Student Assembly, and we had a very productive conversation about, what the Disabled Students Union need moving forward this semester. It turns out that this semester is the Americans with Disabilities Act, it's the 25th anniversary, so they want to do something big. They want to have a huge event, and they want to invite a lot of speakers to speak about where disabled students were before and how facilities for disabled students are improving, and where they want to see disabled students 25 years from now. I'm helping kind of spearhead that along with some other people from the Graduate Assembly as well as DSU. Just a small shout out to my amazing director, Amin over there. He's the one that's been putting this project together for me. He's been doing a lot of good work. Apart from that, stay happy, stay golden. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. Okay, 2 announcements. So on Friday, the BSU is putting on like a art showpiece case type thing. So if you know anyone that identifies as African American, African, or Black, please tell them to come to the MCC this Friday at 8 p.m. And then second announcement, just to kind of reiterate what Miriam brought up, the campus climate that CCSD is putting on. We've worked all last semester for it, and to organize it and plan it, and Lisa Walker's put in so much work. Y'all don't understand what winter break was like. But it actually is starting at 9 a.m. It's 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. So if anyone can make it at any point, please do show up. It's not going to be a breakdown of campus climate. It's going to be more of like, okay, we all know what campus climate says. Now what? And so if you're interested in the now what, and kind of what students who are already doing work are doing, and you want to listen, you want to contribute, that is the place. So yeah, that's it.
Ivy?
Oh, wait.
Pursuant to ASUC bylaw 1405, I move to nominate Shojit Banerjee as the public defender.
And that's a new business which will be considered next week under the consent calendar.
Can we get a breakdown first for people as to like what's going on? Yeah, why
So there's a confidential case right now against a certain person in the ASUC who's being charged for certain things. And under the new bylaws, before that person can be tried, they need a public defender. So in order to allow the Attorney General to try that person, within the next month, the public defender has to be nominated tonight to be appointed next week. So the trial can take place in 2 weeks. And the identity of that person is confidential for 48 hours, and then you'll get an email who's being removed.
And you can come in and speak next week during information. If you have any additional questions that you have specifically pertaining to the public defender and so on.
Can I just ask how this? I'm sure you're a great person. How did we come to this decision? Can somebody elaborate on it?
The public defender is nominated at the discretion of the chief accountability officer, who's confirmed by who's appointed by Jeff. He also works in the county's office.
Okay.
For folks who are also curious, public defender is taking on the role of, I believe, last year was Solicitor General. For those of you who know that, I just referred to the bylaws, and if you want any more specific info, contact someone who's on Conrad. We had a pretty lengthy decision regarding conflict of interest, regarding AG, and all that stuff. GCOM, GovCom.
Present.
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 Present. Present.
Present.
Present.
Present.
Please keep it quiet.
Present.
Present.
Present. Present.
Okay,